All right. So we have enzyme nutrition. When we talk about enzyme nutrition, so there are few terms that we have to understand. The things that we are going to be studying in enzyme nutrition is going to be number one, it's going to be digestion. Then we are going to be studying absorption of digested nutrients. Whatever has been digested. Digestion is actually a process in which large insoluble molecules are broken down into soluble ones. Okay. Then they are absorbed. Then they are assimilated. What does assimilation means? All of those dissolved, all of those hydrolyzed and digested nutrients are absorbed and then they are taken up by the cell to make new things. This is assimilation. We are going to be studying each and everything in detail. And then we have alimentary canal. Okay. We are going to be first starting with a simple process of what actually takes place with the food when it is in the body. All right. Once the food enters the body through this, which is called ingestion, you ingest the food. The food is taken into the mouth by, which is the mouth is also called a buccal cavity, right? Buccal cavity. It is taken
जी.
and then it goes through a process of digestion. There are two types of digestion that we are going to generally look at. And then it is absorbed, then it is assimilated, which is the dissolved and the soluble nutrients are going to be used by the cells to make new substances. And then the egestion takes place. Egestion is a process of removal of undigested food. This takes place through anus. All right.
जी सर.
All right. Now we'll write about each of these processes that generally take place with the food in a human body, inshallah. So when we talk about the first one, ingestion is taking up of food from the mouth. This mouth is also called as buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. All right. Cavity is the space. Buccal means the mouth. This cavity of ours where we have teeth, tongue, glands, salivary glands, and all of those things between the jaws. This is called the buccal cavity. All right. It starts from your lips and it goes up till your throat. Beyond throat, there are different parts of the body. That cavity is different. Pharynx and larynx, they're different. This is buccal cavity, which is actually the part which is between your teeth, which includes your tongue, your palate, and your throat, and all of that. That is it. A person takes food when you put the food in your mouth. This is called ingestion or the buccal cavity. Then, after this has been placed in your mouth, the food undergoes a process of digestion. This is where the digestion starts already. But we will understand what type of digestion takes place in the mouth and what type of digestion takes place generally in other parts of the alimentary canal. So the indigestion, the breakdown, it is what is digestion? It is the breakdown of large insoluble. It is the breakdown of large insoluble food substances into small soluble substances. All right, small soluble. So what is going on from large insoluble to small and soluble. This is what small soluble, large insoluble. This is what digestion is all about in the keywords. All right. Then we move further. We say what is absorption. Then the process of absorption takes place. All of this small soluble or digested molecules of the or food particles are absorbed into the body in the intestines. All of this is taken up by the body through intestine into the blood streams and other and the lacteals and all of that. Right? It is taken up into the bloodstream so that it can be transported. All of these nutrients, all of these soluble dissolved nutrients can move around in the body through the bloodstream. All right, there's something very important that we need to understand over here. You know, substances can only pass across the cell membrane if they dissolve in water. If they're not soluble in water, they
Yes.
cannot pass through the cell membrane. We have already discussed that when we were discussing cell
Yes.
membrane.
In osmosis.
Yes, they need to dissolve in water. The movement that takes place across the membrane generally takes place by the things when they get dissolved in water. If there is no water, no movement of substances across the membranes are going to take place. All right. So that is why there is a need for them to be made soluble, small and soluble, so that they can pass through the cell walls, sorry, pass through the cell membranes and everything, so that they can reach the inner parts of the cell. Then we have the process of assimilation. Assimilation is the usage of absorbed nutrients by the cells to make new substances. Like amino acids are going to be used to make proteins, which are enzymes or hormones.
सर
Yes.
मुझे एसिमिलेशन आप थोड़ा डिटेल में समझाएंगे?
Right, no problem. Assimilation is a process in which we already know that the substances, there were carbohydrates, right? Let's take an example of protein. Somebody ate some meat. This meat, through the process of digestion, it went and became amino acids, right? From these amino acids were absorbed by the intestine and went into the bloodstream, right?
Yes.
From the bloodstream, they went into cells. All right, these amino acids went into the cells. They are taken up by the cells. Now cells are going to use those amino acids to make enzymes, repair cells, muscles. All right, do you understand?
जी.
The use When the cell uses this amino acid to make new proteins, to make repair cells, and to do all of those things, to make new substances, to make more enzymes, this is called assimilation. Assimilation is actually the use, how the cells use substances that have the nutrients to make new substances. Another example can be glucose. Carbohydrates are taken up by us. They are converted into glucose. Then goes into the bloodstream. Absorption takes place. They go into the bloodstream. From there, the cells take up this glucose. The assimilation starts from there. When the cells take up that glucose molecule, now they are going to use that glucose molecule to produce energy, right? For respiration. This is assimilation.
जी.
All right. When
जी
nutrients,
सर.
or in other words, you can say when nutrients enter the metabolic reactions, when the nutrients become, or you can say when nutrients become substrate of metabolic reactions, this is actually also assimilation. Why? Because there are going to be products. Products as in what? Like enzymes, or steroids, or any other thing, hormones, right? You understand?
जी सर.
Energy, which is being produced by the use of glucose, the respiration that is taking place inside the organelles of cell. So this is assimilation. Clear? Right. Then we move on. And the last part of all of the what takes place with the food is, last of them all, is digestion. The removal of undigested food as feces. The fecal matter is, it is called the fecal matter. It is removed from the body. The undigested food is removed from the body out of the alimentary canal through the anus. All right. So
जी सर.
it all started with the mouth, and it ended at anus.
इज.
Let's look further into the topic. All right, digestion. Let's start with digestion. So we need to understand few things before we jump into the alimentary canal completely. There are few things that we can understand. When we talk about digestion, we are going to see that digestion is actually two important parts, two types. Digestion, there's a mechanical digestion and there is a chemical digestion. Let's talk about mechanical digestion first. Basically, mechanical digestion is actually a physical digestion. It does not involve any enzymes. It does not involve any enzymes. It does not involve any chemicals. It does not involve any acids. So you can say no acids, no enzymes, and no hydrolysis in general. All right, these three things. No hydrolysis. So large particles in a chemical digestion, large food particles are actually broken down into smaller pieces. Right? It's actually breaking of large particles into smaller pieces. This is actually a physical digestion,
जी.
right?